Hello and welcome to today's session. I hope you're all doing amazingly well from whichever part of the world you are watching. Today, I continue to bring you along with me as I'm kind of getting my thinking ducks in a row for my second book. And the question I want to tackle is the one I ask my clients, particularly boutique hotel owners. And that is, if we removed everything from your wellness concept, all the visible aspects, your treatment menu, the actual infrastructure, the different elements, the services, what would remain? And what remains is actually the winning wellness concept, what I call the wellness asset, my first book. So, in this second book, I want to go a step or like a layer deeper, as also the wellness industry has matured and our clients are increasingly sophisticated and expect more from wellness experiences. So, just to give you kind of a quick recap of how I've been putting all this information together, I talked about where we are right now with wellness and why what got us here to this current situation will not get us where we want to be, a lucrative industry that's growing and moving serious amounts of money, which we are, but we will be growing exponentially in the years and decades to follow. And what we currently have today is the wellness business model that we inherited 20 or 30 years down the line when wellness predominantly sat in the spa area, then the gym, and then it all kind of meshed together to now be part of the entire guest and employee experience within a hotel. And that traditional model is what I call the hero model, where all the weight of the wellness concept and the entire wellness area sits on the shoulders of one person, and that is the head of wellness. And that person is expected to run the day to day of the different wellness related services and facilities. So, the spa, the gym, mind body activities, any external activities. And on top of that, also be the strategist. And that model worked. That wellness hero model worked when wellness was still a very tiny part of the hotel business. But today, wellness represents a substantially higher amount of money, higher amount of value, tangible and intangible, to a hotel's entire asset ecosystem. And what is clear, the traditional hotel hero model for wellness cannot survive today. Hence, wellness succeeds and fails at the level it is designed. And if it's designed correctly to succeed, it will endure at the level it is stewarded. So there are two layers to having success in wellness. First, ensuring that you have designed it correctly. And second, that you're stewarding it properly. You have the right governance and structure in place. And I mentioned how, just reading the book From Good to Great, how Jim Collins mentions, I've got his book on my bookshelf. He mentions get the right people on the bus, get the wrong people off the bus, and get the right peoples on the right seats, the right people on the right seats. The problem with wellness is that we never ever defined those seats in the first place. It was one person sitting across all four seats. And the four seats I defined were one, the visionary. That is the owner. That is the person who dictates what they want out of wellness. And they're pretty much driving that entire bus. And their seat is a priority. Then from there, you have the architect, metaphorically speaking, the person who translates the owner's vision into what will be the scope of what wellness looks like. What is the design of that and the key pillars? Then the third key seat in the bus is the actual structures team. The people who come in to ensure you have the right pillars and you're defining the right services in order to get that architectural plan, put it into life. Then you have the interiors team, the people who come in and make that infrastructure, that building of your wellness offering livable. And lastly, if we want to create that fifth seat, is the operations team that's actually in the day-to-day of that wellness building, so to speak. So now we no longer can have one person being spread across these 5 seats. They need to be 5 different people. Purely because the wellness asset today is complex. And not only does it offer tangible value, it also offers the intangible value. And the impact it has on the hotel's overall profit and loss is massive. And also the valuation of the entire asset, the hotel asset. So that's why we need those different people. And from there, getting the right people on the right seats. I've also talked about who comes before what. Whenever you boutique hotel owners come to me, the first question you have is, what can I build? And I always come back to, it's the who. Who do you want to be when it comes to wellness? Either way, whatever concept you create, you are the one who needs to believe in it. You are the one who will need to go down that valley of despair, that river of misery, to actually get to man's transformation. And if you can't back your concept, there is no way you will see it past the finish line. And the reason it is important that it starts with you, that visionary seat in the bus, is because now wellness is a serious business. And it can no longer be delegated to that one wellness hero to hold it all. You are the one who will need to see it past the finish line. And we're living times, thank God for that, where there is no exact playbook when it comes to the wellness business. And what I want to do today is tackle the question of, if we were to remove all the physical elements, all the visible elements of your wellness offering, the services, the people, the treatments, the actual physical facilities, what would remain? And if the answer is nothing, then you don't have a winning wellness concept. You just have an infrastructure. So when boutique hotel owners come to me, and it's always the what they want to build, I kind of help them get off the tip of the iceberg where they're looking at the individual elements, the toolbox, and get them to start focusing on what kind of well-being related problems do they want to solve. Physical, mental, spiritual, existential, a mix of all. And then I get them to the base of the value iceberg, where it's all about making that genuine, lasting impact, the why you want to do wellness. And there is no right or wrong answer. So when I sit with my boutique hotel owners, the first thing I ask is specifically that. If we were to remove everything, what would remain? Because that is your concept. And if you don't have that dialed in, you will always be building around your toolbox, the individual elements. Because equipment can be copied, but not your idea or your vision. That's not that easy to copy. So for me, the three things that must remain, if we were to remove all the visible aspects, are these. The first one is to actually think about a point of view. If we remove all the facilities and the people, what belief about well-being remains? What problem are you solving? What do you stand for? And what do you absolutely refuse to do? And with this point of view, what we want is for you to have a stance on what wellness and well-being mean to you. Why is it important for you in the entire guest experience and employee experience? The second thing that must remain is a system of decisions. Remember, we're not going back to that hero model where everything sat on the shoulders of the wellness leader. Here you're creating that system of decisions. So if the entire wellness building burned down tomorrow, could you rebuild it coherently? And would your team know how to make aligned choices about the wellness offering? And is there a decision logic underneath the offering? Because your wellness concept can't survive if you have to explain it every single day. You know you have a powerful wellness concept if you can rebuild it from scratch and keep the same core essence of it, albeit using very different elements. And this becomes particularly important when you're creating wellness offerings in very different products. So you could have a property and asset in one part of the world, and you want to create a chain, a second one in another part of the world. What remains in both, what holds that red thread that holds the entire wellness concept together, is your belief about wellness. And irrespective of what elements you've used in each of those properties, Your client should feel that red thread as soon as they walk in. So it's essentially the same person, you're just dressed differently, but you're the same personality. And lastly, the third thing that remains, and the most important thing, is culture. If you completely removed your spa, if you completely removed your wellness offering, how would your team greet a guest? How would you make trade offs in whatever decisions you're making? And what would you prioritize under pressure if the physical wellness facilities no longer existed? It's that culture that also plays an integral part of your wellness concept. So it goes way beyond a physical space. So wellness will always succeed or fail at the level it is designed, and it will endure at the level it is stewarded. And if you want a quick answer about what would be the best concept for you, ask yourself, if you had to remove every single physical element visible, what would remain? And the three key things that must remain are a point of view. So people know directly, this is X, Y, and Z. This is their stance on wellness. The second thing that should remain is a system of decisions. How you prioritize business decisions, what trade-offs do you make in your business? And lastly, a culture. What are you living and breathing? Because wellness just can't sit on physical spaces and services. It has to be embedded in your culture. And I repeat, there is no right or wrong answer. How you choose to define wellness or how you choose to define well-being is very personal and valid. But it is important to understand that wellness are the individual elements, that toolbox. And you can't build your entire offering based on a toolbox. That toolbox just helps you deliver your guests their well-being goals. The tools that help them achieve their overall well-being. Now, one set of tools is equally valid as another one, provided they solve the well-being related problems of your guest. And in order to do that successfully, you need to have a point of view. What does wellness mean to you? You need to have a system of decisions, and you need to have a culture. And wellness is that red thread. Your wellness concept is the red thread on all these three things. So, on that note, my wellness leader friends, I wish you all a beautiful day ahead. Take care now.